So this is an example, the weighted average cost of capital. How do we compute it? We look essentially cost of debt in this situation, 7.5%. Now think about what is the cost of debt? This is the cost of borrowing for a corporation. So, if you want to look at a typical industry cost of debt, you have to think top companies AAA in this interest rate environment might be actually way lower than 7.5. Could be 5%, maybe it's 4.8%. So cost of equity is 15 in this situation. What is the cost of equity in general? This is something that we could look at. It's traditionally considered around 15% or so, but it depends on the type of company, on the type of index that it's in, on the type of industry that it's in. Could be higher if the volatility is higher, could be lower if the volatility is lower, right? So how do we do it? So 7.5 times 0.3, because that is 30% of the total value, and you have 15, which is the rate, times 0.7, 70% of the total value is equity. Now, what is going on with this one minus 0.35 is you get a tax break for using debt because you get to deduct the interest payments, right? So this is how we compute weighted average cost of capital is 12%. So this way, this is kind of an idea of saying, hey, it cost me 12% to fund my assets, basically. Now we're including the CAPM, the capital asset pricing model, to include the capital structure. So we have, basically, we're looking at a capital asset pricing model. Basically says, rather than, you're thinking about, I want to compute the cost of equity. So I could do it in a very complicated way, look at the asset on an individual basis, look at the equity, say it's a company, GE or Coca-Cola, have been around for 50 years. I can look at the standard deviation, the risk, the volatility, the returns, do all my analysis and come up with a cost of equity. Or this model says, hey, there's an easier way, a more general way, quicker way to do it if I want to do quickly for many different stocks. They said, why not look at how correlated this stock is to the index, say the S&P 500. By correlated, we mean how quickly, how easily intertwined is it? How fast does it move with the index? So then, that's what the beta is. And the beta is for each stock, if it's 100% correlated, it's 1. If it's halfway correlated, it's 0.5. If it's double correlated, it's 2. If it's negatively correlated, it could be -1. Uncorrelated, it could be 0, right? So that's beta. And then, so you're saying, hey, well, I have the beta, and then you just look at the market premium minus the risk-free rate, right? So we're talking about the market risk premium. What is the S&P 500 market risk premium? Basically, is what is that? What is the premium of this market over the risk-free rate? So somebody might say this is usually 7 to 8%. So you're saying kind of like that is the market risk premium the market provides over the risk-free rate, right? So that minus the risk-free rate times the beta gives you basically an adjusted market risk premium of this specific stock, because you got the market rate, right? That's the market. Then the beta adjusts this equation for your specific stock. Then you add back the risk-free rate just to put it back in. And this is the capital asset pricing model.